Precisely 3:15 a.m. on March 4th, 2026. I am crouching, my hands gripping the steel base of the 12.7mm heavy machine gun, my legs spread wide to brace against the rhythmic tossing of the waves. We are right in the middle of the narrowest point of the Strait of Hormuz, less than 7 nautical miles south of the rocky shoals of Qeshm Island. The night here isn't just dark. It is thick and heavy, reeking of crude oil mixed with the sharp taste of sea salt stinging the back of my throat. My name is Siavash, a patrol petty officer for the IRGC Navy. Every single night, this fiberglass speedboat skims across the swells to guard the death gate of the world. We used to believe we owned these waters, knowing every trench, every gust of wind. But tonight, a piercing chill drives straight into my spine. The salty fog slicing across our bow suddenly tears apart. Right in my field of vision, a colossal tower of steel looms out of nowhere, pitch black and silent like a phantom island rising from the ocean floor. An Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer of the United States Navy. It lies there, completely dark, no navigation lights, no engine hum, radiating only the immense pressure of thousands of tons of advanced steel, choking the air right out of my lungs. All hands to positions! Hold steady speed! Prepare to issue a warning order! Captain Hussein's voice roars through the internal comms, cutting right through the howling sea wind. I swallow hard against a dry throat. My palms are slick with sweat, clamped tight onto the ice-cold machine gun grip. My heart pounds violently against my ribs. Facing U.S. forces at a distance of barely a few hundred meters has never been a game. You don't fear death coming from a fast-flying bullet. You fear the absolute silence of the enemy before they press the button to wipe you off the map. Before a loudspeaker warning can even leave my mouth, the water dead ahead of our port side violently splits apart. Swish! A streak of white foam surges out of the mist at wind-shattering speed. It doesn't move like any vessel I've ever seen in my life. 0 human steering delay. 0 wasted turning radius. It is an American unmanned surface vehicle, USV. A lethal machine made of pitch-black carbon alloy. It charges straight on a direct collision course toward our flank at terrifying speed, like an arrow slicing the water with no intention of stopping. Fire! Fire now! It's going to ram us! The captain screams frantically over the radio. I squeeze the trigger down hard. Bang, bang, bang! The 12.7mm heavy machine gun barks with deafening cracks, shattering the stillness of the dark night. Tracers carve glowing red streaks straight into the oncoming wall of steel, sparking thousands of neon green electric arcs. But this emotionless machine feels no pain, shows no hesitation. It glides past our flank with barely centimeters to spare. Boom! The high-speed slipstream and turbulent backwash whip me off my feet, sending me tumbling across the deck. The machine gun is ripped from my grasp. The hull lurches violently, sea foam cresting and crashing over the gunwale, nearly tossing the entire crew into the black deep. My back slams hard against a razor-sharp metal bulkhead, flaring with sharp pain. I hear our crewman Reza shouting in terror from the engine room aft, the clatter of gear smashing inside the helm cabin. The drone boat doesn't turn back to attack. It simply glides past like a chilling warning from a new era of warfare. We have just walked directly into the crosshairs of an algorithm. I stagger back up to my feet, my elbow raw and burning from the metal impact. Gasping for air, my eyes snap upward toward the night sky. Right above us, the pitch-black sky suddenly flares with unnatural, brilliant flashes. Dozens, then hundreds of gray-blue light trails pierce the darkness, bursting from the direction of the U.S. destroyer like a reverse meteor shower. Those aren't missiles. That is a drone swarm. They blanket the airspace directly above our tiny boat. They emit no deafening jet engine roar, but instead produce a low, dense, bone-chilling buzzing sound, the hum of thousands of steel insects closing in on their prey. Crash! A violent impact from beneath the hull knocks all of us back down to the deck. This time it isn't from above. An American unmanned underwater vehicle, UUV, just unleashed a low-frequency acoustic shockwave directly against our bilge. The fiberglass hull groans and screeches as if about to shatter. Seawater begins spraying through a fresh fracture beneath the engine room floor. Water's flooding in! Captain, we're sinking! Reza screams into the dark. I snap my head up and see Captain Hossein desperately struggling to pull a manual flare pin. His hands are shaking so violently he can't yank the safety ring. I leap forward, snatch the flare from his grip, and rip the trigger pin straight out. Whoosh! A blinding red glare bursts to life, illuminating 3 pale faces drenched in sweat and seawater. Choking, caustic smoke fills the air. I heave the flare far away from the boat's flank to decoy thermal sensors. The red flame drifts across the water surface, casting a thick, hazy veil. But in the realm of algorithmic warfare, last-century manual tricks are entirely useless. The moment the flare hits the water, the aerial swarm shows zero hesitation or distraction. Their buzzing tone abruptly drops in frequency, shifting into a rapid, low-pitched drone. They line up horizontally, locking down our drifting hull using multispectral infrared sensors. A massive undercurrent slams our side. The hull tilts sharply to one side, freezing seawater surging up to my knees. I hear Reza's panicked gasps, the captain whispering desperate prayers trapped in his throat. We have no weapons left, no steering left, no way out. We are nothing more than exposed prey trapped inside a sinking metal coffin in the middle of the open ocean. No earth-shattering explosions, no cinematic walls of fire. The Americans don't need to waste a single missile to eliminate us. They break us through the absolute supremacy of technology, cold, emotionless technology that strangles every chance of resistance. The entire crew stands frozen in the oppressive dark. The silence right now is far more terrifying than any gunfire. Only the sound of waves slapping against our drifting hull, water flooding the bilge, and the bone-chilling drone buzz circling directly overhead. I stand staring up into the pitch-black void, sweat streaming down my brow, stinging my eyes raw. And then, across that dark sky, a blood-red laser line from an unmanned God Eye slices straight down. The beam sweeps across the water, glances off the gunnel, and stops, locking dead center onto my uniform chest. That tiny red dot sits motionless on my chest, trembling slightly with every ragged breath I take. Then a second dot drops onto Captain Hossein's chest. Then a third lands right between Reza's eyebrows. My heart stops completely. My whole body freezes like stone. I cannot move. I cannot call out to my comrades. I cannot raise a weapon. I stand there, naked beneath the lethal laser ray, realizing that miles away in the dark, a computer operator on a US warship merely needs to click a mouse once, and my body will be scattered into dust in a fraction of a second. We are no longer soldiers fighting a battle. We are merely targets with a pre-programmed expiration time, waiting for the final execution command in absolute silence.